Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to take you through what we believe to be the finest games on the Switch. Not the finest of a particular genre or of a particular time period, the best games, full blinking stop. Up to the date that this is published. All 31 games featured in this video have been selected and ordered based on a number of different factors, such as the review score that we gave it, the Metacritic score, general public sort of opinion, and of course, a healthy dose of everyone's favourite. Just to prepare you, I'm not going to be hanging around on any one particular game for too long, because I've got 31 other sods to get through. We're also going to be avoiding ports or remasters of older games older than the Wii U, because we want to focus on what makes the Switch, and no one had a Wii U, so it doesn't count. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling, let's dive right into things. Starting things off, we have Fire Emblem Three Houses, a fantastic strategy turn-based RPG, or turn-based strategy RPG, depending on who you talk to. This game is an absolute whopper, which may put some people off, but I'm sure there'll be some people going, yes, I love me a big game, and if that's the case, then this is for you. Great characters, beautiful graphics, brimming with content. If this is your genre, it's hard to go wrong. Next up, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 2, another RPG, only this one, it's an action RPG. Sort of. The combat in Xenoblade isn't the easiest in the world to explain, so don't worry about it. But this is a fantastic game with a huge amount of scope and massive worlds to explore, built upon the original, which was one of the best Wii games by far, and is just a fantastically good time. The narrative is not going to be for absolutely everyone, but even so, we think you should give this at least a chance. Next in line is Sonic Mania Plus, a true return to form with the classic Sonic gameplay, and it's just better than ever. No major gimmicks beyond the drop dash, which is frankly the best thing ever, and I miss it every single time I go back to play like Sonic 1 or 2 or 3. If you like the original Mega Drive or Genesis Sonic games, then you are gonna fall in love with this all over again. And it's got the Plus in here as well, which is like a load of content with Ray the Flying Squirrel and Mighty the Armadillo. If you don't know who those characters are, get this game and find out. Moving on, we have Luigi's Mansion 3. Atmosphere, thy name is Luigi's Mansion 3. If you haven't played any of the other Luigi's Mansion games, you don't really need to. It's kind of its own product in and of itself, so don't worry about that. And my god, you shouldn't even use that as an excuse, because this is just an amazing game. More importantly, well, maybe not more importantly, but also importantly, it is one of the best looking Switch games by a country mile. Have you seen this? It looks great in YouTube. You see it in person, prepare to be blown away. There's more character here in Luigi than I think any other character in the entire Mario series ever, just in one game. Like, even if you rolled it all together, roll all of them together, nope, Luigi's still got more personality in this. Sticking the landing, it's the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Now this, what the hell am I supposed to say? It's bloody Skyrim. It's a massive open world RPG where you get to play as anyone you bloomin' well like, even a lizard person, which is good. This is the kind of game that you end up replaying about 6 or 7 different times. I think I'm on my 8th character now. Every so often I'll just come back to it, usually around Christmas time actually, and I'll just, do a stint of 30 or 40 hours. And yeah, every single time I find something I haven't seen before. It's a good. Slipping in, we have Astral Chain, which is this game's hard to explain in so many different ways. It's in the future. You control 2 characters at the same time. It still kind of makes sense somehow. The combat in this game is unlike anything else you've seen. It's made by the same people who did Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2, if you can believe it, which means that yes, there's combos aplenty and combat is frenetic. I love this game. It's really original, really unique, and there's just flat out nothing else like it out there. And it's gorgeous! Next up, we have The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Yeah, this is on a Switch! Yes, the graphics are a little bit soft. Yes, it doesn't necessarily run at a solid frame rate. Yes, This is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt running natively on a Nintendo bloody Switch. The porting effort is phenomenal, I don't want to downplay that, but the game itself as well is just an incredibly good game. Every single little side quest you do feels like a major quest from like Skyrim or something like that. And I'm not dunking on Skyrim, I love Skyrim. But this is just like, the narrative is on another level. Plus, you can run around singing "Toss a coin to your Witcher" the entire time. Admittedly, you can do that in any game, but at least in this one it makes sense. Undertale. Oh my great goggly goodness. If you've been on the internet, you've heard of Undertale. And more importantly, this game lives up to the hype. There's so many twists and turns and different... I don't want to say too much, because you don't want to give anything away with this game. If you don't know like anything major about this game, you're in a wonderful, beautiful situation. And you must continue to nurture that by playing Undertale without looking at anything else to do with Undertale. Really, the more I talk about it, the more I'm spoiling, so I'm going to shut up. Next up, we have Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Can you believe that this game technically performs slightly better? I mean, they've probably patched this out now, but when it first came out, it technically ran ever so slightly better on Switch than it did on the Xbox One, which is crackers. I'm fairly certain it was a lower resolution, but that's not the point. This is an absolute masterclass in Metroidvanias. The feel of flow is just so sublime here. Every single movement you do feels completely effortless, and at the same time, incredibly rewarding and satisfying with great feedback. It really is all about the way you move in this game, because it's kind of a platformer. I mean, it's a Metroidvania technically, but let's not get bogged down on genres. Some people prefer the original, some people prefer this one. This one has definitely evolved the genre, and I think that it is more than worthy of being on this list. Cuphead. Cuphead is a game that is just, frankly, fantastic. I mean, you only have to look at it to think, hang on, okay, right, we've got something special here. There's no denying it. The art style is absolutely gorgeous. The animation is beyond sublime. But at the same time, this is an incredibly good fun run and gun game. There's a reason everyone's going on about this sucker. It's fast, frenetic, arcadey, incredibly satisfying, and really very difficult as well. You've no doubt seen all the memes, stuff, and all that sort of thing. Yeah, Cuphead is hard, especially when you go back and do the hard mode. Next up, we have Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, and yes, that's the real title. Stupidly long titles aside though, we've got another absolutely stellar RPG on our hands here. Some say it's the finest Dragon Quest game to ever be made, and I'm not one to argue. And not just because I haven't played all of them. This is about as close as you're going to get to a JRPG of yore, but with all the nice bells and whistles that you'd expect in a modern game, and crikey does it do it well. You can see monsters in the overworld, you can avoid battles if you want. It's the future. Let's take things down a little bit and talk about one of the best and most relaxing games on the system, Stardew Valley. Have you ever wanted to run your own farm? You can do that. Have you ever wanted to make friends with some people? You can do that. Have you ever wanted to brew beer every day in a rate that doesn't work with beer? Using only hops, you can do that. I love Stardew Valley so much. I fell in love the moment I played it, and at one point when they released the multiplayer patch, which is still available obviously, my partner and I, we played pretty much the entire Christmas period. We would wake up, play Stardew Valley, and then go to bed, maybe with some eating in between. That's what we did for like a week solid. It was amazing. That alone should be enough to convince you, but if not, there's little things called Junimos that do stuff for you. That should do it. On a slightly different note, we've got Doom Eternal. In my opinion, one of, if not the best first-person shooter on the Nintendo Switch. It's another one of these quote-unquote impossible ports, and it does so much, so well, that when they revealed everything and they said, hey, it's coming to Switch as well, and they revealed like all the demons would fall apart and stuff when you shoot them, everyone was saying, oh, that's not going to be on Switch. Well, it is. Everything's here. It's the same experience as on every other platform. Yeah, it runs at 30 frames a second. Yeah, it's kind of soft in places, but you know what? It's Doom Eternal, and you can play it on the bus. You can't do that with the other version. Well, maybe you can, but but you can't do it on a system that consumes only 8 watts now, can you? Rolling into view is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Now this, if you like platformers, my god, if you've not played this, you are missing out on an absolute treat. This game is wonderful. It's wonderful for so many reasons, and one of them is potentially because it's really quite hard. Thankfully, this version does come with a different mode, the new funky mode, which definitely takes the edge off some of the difficulty, but it still remains a decent challenge. And even if you just want to play through it with the funky mode, I don't blame you, because my god, this game is amazing. It irons out a lot of the issues with Donkey Kong Country Returns. It's beautiful. It runs just completely flawlessly. It's finally found its true home on the Switch, rather than the Wii U. How do you move on from Monster Hunter World? You do Monster Hunter Rise, and oh my god, it's better. I love Monster Hunter World, I really, really do, but Monster Hunter Rise really helps to kind of like bring the focus back down. It manages to streamline so many things about Monster Hunter that has been in dire need of streamlining, but at the same time it does so many fun and new and original things to make it just flat out. I'm gonna say it, it's the best Monster Hunter game, and I don't care who knows it. It's wild, it's complicated, it's really very difficult in places. It's still amazing. Oh, we were bound to get one, weren't we? Yes, Subsurface Circular, what some people may say isn't even a game. This is entirely a narrative-driven experience, and as I said, some people don't consider this a game, and that's fine, but it's available on the Switch, and you use buttons, so it's a game. This is another one of those things where I can't talk about it too much for fear of spoiling it, but this is a narrative experience unlike anything else you're ever going to experience on Switch, at least at the time of recording. It raises some genuinely interesting questions about ethics and, you know, things like the law of robotics and things like that, but it doesn't shove anything down your throat, but most importantly, you get to live out this narrative in real time and actually have control over it. It is essentially what all narratives should be in games, but realistically they can't be. This is a pure experience through and through, and that's all I'm gonna say. Next up, it's an easy one. It's Super Mario Maker 2. Yes, oh my great goggly goodness. Have you ever wanted to make your own Mario levels? Well, now you can. And you can do it with a controller. Yes, some people have a little bit of an issue with the controls in this game, but I don't. I think they're perfectly serviceable and very, very good. The amount of content in this game, because it's all user-created and everything, the amount of content is quite literally endless. You can sit down, I imagine you could sit down, start playing this game, and just not stop. In theory, if you didn't stop and you completed every single level that you came across, you would still keep playing levels, I imagine, maybe for the rest of your life. There are literally millions of levels. Now, granted, some of them aren't very good. Some of them are even atrocious, but some of them are incredible, and some of the creativity on hand is unmatched, and the sort of thing Nintendo wouldn't even touch with a barge pole, which means, hey, we can do it anyway. Next up, we have Tetris Effect Connected, and if you think that this is just Tetris, well, you're partly right. This is the original Tetris, absolutely. It's the same Tetris gameplay that has been enamoring people for decades now, but now they've introduced a new feature and it doesn't really directly affect the gameplay. They describe it as synesthesia, which is where the brain interprets data from one sense through another sense. So like seeing music. And it's weird. As you play the classic Tetris, every single action you make makes subtle, small, or even big changes to the presentation, be it auditory or be it visual. As you can probably tell from the footage, it's an experience, and you can play it on the go. Take it anywhere. Anyone would think one of the biggest boons of the Switch was its portability. Next up, we have Hades, which is a roguelite, and if that's raising alarm bells for you, then maybe you should just hold on just a mini moment, my god. Whereas many roguelikes require you to start from the beginning every single time, roguelites, like Hades, allow you to continue with some progression every single time you die, and Hades does it absolutely perfectly. It's got an incredible cast of characters. You may even learn something about Greek mythology, who knows? The combat is fantastic. It's really hard to go wrong. If you're tempted and you think, hey, that looks like it could be good, then I'd say you should give it a pop. Next, we have what I suppose could be classified as a classic for the system. Splatoon 2 came out the first year the Switch came out. How's about that? Splatoon on the Wii U was one of the most original shooters, and this just refines pretty much everything about it and just makes it into one of the best and most original games that you can still play today. Just flat out. Shoot ink, swim through it. Kill other squids. Well, don't kill them, but they kind of go pop. Splatoon 3 may be on the horizon, but right now Splatoon 2 is king of the Splatoon crown group, which means it must be good. Moving on, we have Axiom Verge, another Metroidvania. It's like Metroidvanias make for just really good games. It's hard to pin down exactly what it is that makes this game just such a good Metroidvania. Maybe it's the pacing, maybe it's the exploration, maybe it's the style. But whatever it is, this game is just phenomenal. If you like Metroid and stuff like that, you can't go wrong with this one. Next in line is Celeste, and if you think you're a platforming genius, prove it, buddy. This is an incredibly satisfying platformer. I mean, it feels strange to even call it a platformer. You know, that's what it is at the end of the day. But it goes in such an interesting direction that it almost feels like a slight disservice to just call it that. It's got an incredibly good narrative as well. It genuinely really quite emotional as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not out of this world, but it's a bit of a heartstring tugging occasion. And if you want to go absolutely mental, there's some incredibly hard things to do in the game as well. And oh my god, they are hard. Taking a step away from crazy Twitch platforming, we have A Short Hike, and this is just one of the most chill games I've ever played. You play as a bird, and you've got to get to the top of a mountain, and you do that by climbing and flying and stuff like that. And it's just pleasant. I don't want to say too much more about the game, not because of spoilers or anything like that, but just because I think it's a game that's better to just experience. Again, go in blind as much as you can. You're gonna have a good time. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. You'll fall in love with it, and every so often, you know, every couple of months, you just go, you know what I fancy playing? I fancy playing A Short Hike. Next up, we have Animal Crossing New Horizons, and at the time of recording, we very recently got a great big chuffing update that added, like, I think literally thousands of new items, which is insane, because there were already so bloody many of them. Crafting things, making friends with other villagers, or islanders, I think they're called in this one. Running around, terraforming, visiting new islands, visiting friends. It's another Animal Crossing game, let's not split hairs about it, but in my opinion, it's easily the best one. And don't get me wrong, I loved all the others, although it's hard to go back to Wild World, I'm not gonna lie. But this game is just cozy, you know? You just want to sit down, it feels like you're having a nice, warm, hot chocolate when you're playing this game. Or maybe a nice, cool, refreshing drink if it's a sunny day. Either way, oh my god, it's good. Slipping into the next position is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Now, if this was just Super Mario 3D World, just a straight port, 1080p, with all the bells and whistles that we got, I'd have been over the moon. But you get Bowser's Fury in here as well. Not only are you getting one of the most solid Mario games ever, like kind of blending the 2D and the 3D beautifully, but you also get this bonus adventure, which is it's just great fun. And everything's a cat. I'm surprised it took them as long as it did to get this released on the Switch, but you know what? But God blimey, it was worth the wait. It's just pure Mario goodness through and through. And next we have a biggie. Yes, we have Hollow Knight. There's a few other Metroidvanias on this list, but Hollow Knight is just completely in a league of its own. It does everything right for a Metroidvania, and then it adds so many other layers on top of that it has directly influenced Metroidvanias on the whole. And you know what they say, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, and my god does it deserve it. If you want to, you can easily sink about 70 to 100 hours into this game, and there's still more to do besides that as well. And the game is also, if you want it to be, it doesn't have to be, the game can be relatively straightforward, or it can be absolutely ball-crushingly difficult, and I love it! The visuals are amazing, the music is amazing, there's almost nothing wrong with this game. Almost nothing wrong with it. It is just an absolute joy. Oh, okay, we're down to the top 5 games now. Only 5 to go. This is where things get serious. At Number 5, we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I mean, what can we say? It is the single best-selling game on the Switch, bar none. Like, okay, Animal Crossing New Horizons has sold 34.85 million, which is incredible. I'm not downplaying that, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 38.74 million at the time of recording. And this is a port. This was on the Wii U, and now it's on the Switch, and it's better, and I've kind of got to the point where I take this game for granted. I'm just like, hey, yeah, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, whatever, you know, move on. But this is without a doubt, in my view, this is the best the series has ever been. You know, if you're coming from a position where you've played Mario Kart Wii or something in the past, or Mario Kart DS, or just, you know, you're going back to maybe you last played the Mario Kart 64 or something, this just blows them all out of the water. Like, you know, there's almost nothing in the other games that isn't in here, apart from maybe the, like, 2-player thing in Double Dash. That was good, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I can see why they moved on. The courses are perfect. Baby Park is perfect. The driving has never been tighter. It's more skill-based than ever, but at the same time still has that fun Mario Kart frenetic combat that you expect, and it's got a decent battle mode. It just ticks every single box that you could possibly want from a Mario Kart game, and I can't stress that enough. At number 4, a very recent release, we have Metroid Dread. Now, I'm not gonna lie, if you haven't played the other games in the Metroid series, you can still enjoy this game, absolutely, I'm sure, but you are gonna get the most out of it if you've played all the others and then you play this one. Because, oh my god, it feels like every Metroid game prior to this was just warming up in order to reach Metroid Dread, and it is one of the most pure and adrenaline-fueled games I have ever played. Everything about Samus's movement is so slick, so perfect. It almost looks like the game is kind of playing itself, but it's not. You're controlling it. Everything is just so sharp and crisp and snappy. You're not waiting around for anything to happen. You put an input in and it happens. It's just so snappy. And you can destroy this game. The developers are well aware that there are ways of getting items completely out of order, and they've even acknowledged it by having like special things happen when you use items before you're supposed to get them at a certain boss. It's just amazing. They knew what they were doing in every sense of the word. In every sense of the word. It's my favorite instance of the Metroid gameplay. It's my favorite representation of Samus, bar none. It is just the best Metroid game I have ever played, and I've literally played them all. I've literally played them all. At number 3, yes, we have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It is finally complete. It is finally complete at the time of recording. We've got all the DLC characters, finishing off with Sora, and every single... How on earth did they make this game this balanced? Like, I know some people are going to be going to the comments and saying, oh, but, you know, you can do this, and there's a potential endless combo in this incredibly impossible set of circumstances with 2 people and a kettle. But the fact that you talk amongst the fans and there's so much differing opinion about tiers and where certain characters are and things like that, and you can even get characters that are theoretically low tier, and then you get, these professionals come along and absolutely wipe the floor with this low tier character, shows that this game is incredibly balanced. I think it may well be the most balanced fighting game ever, and it has got so much representation as well. I can't even remember. We've got over 70 characters in this game. 70 characters. I hate to think how many franchises are represented. The answer is maybe too many. I really don't know where we're going to go from here, where Smash is going to go next, because this is, true to its name, this is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It completely supersedes, for a vast majority of people, don't worry Melee players, I see you, but for a vast majority of people, this supersedes all the other games. The other games are still fun to go back to, don't get me wrong, but if you want to play Smash, you play this. And at number 2, we have Super Mario Odyssey. Undoubtedly, in my view, the best 3D Mario game that has ever been made. It looks fantastic, it runs fantastic, the moon system is incredible. I was a little bit skeptical when I first started playing it because they're pretty much everywhere, but it just works. It's so satisfying to go around collecting all the moons, or even just not even all of them, going around, jumping, diving. The movement in this game is on another level, and far better players than me have been able to do just absolutely outstanding and ludicrous things with it. The game is so open, so flexible, so willing to just let you do whatever you want, provided you can overcome some ridiculous challenge that the game doesn't even make you aware of. It's just phenomenal. Controlling all the different enemies, just running and jumping and bouncing off Cappy. The entire game is a playground, and one that I really, really think... I mean, you must have played it by now, or at least you've seen it. Give it a go. You will not be dissatisfied. And finally, at number 1, yes, it's so predictable, but so deserved. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I described Super Mario Odyssey as a playground. This is the keys to the playground factory. There is such a wonderful marriage of simplicity and complexity in this game that people are still finding new stuff out today. Okay, it may only be minor stuff, but who cares? The fact that this game is 4 years old and we are still finding new things is just unheard of, just unthinkable. People have their gripes with this game, they absolutely do, and I don't want to suggest that they're wrong. But what this game does right outweighs any possible negative in my view. It is just... I think this is honestly one of the best games that has ever been made. And potentially, I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's one of the best games that will ever be made. I've already done a video with Xeon and John where we just gush about Breath of the Wild for an hour, so I'm not gonna, like, completely talk your ear off, but... this is the finest and one of the most freeing games I have ever played. And when I think of the Switch, this is the first game I think of. And to be honest, I think that's praise enough. And there you have it. Those are, in our opinion, the finest games available on the Nintendo Switch. We chose to do 31 of them because... oh my, I thought maybe I could get away. Oh, maybe a top 10. No, maybe a top 20. No? I had to stop at 30. 1. Always got to go one better. But that's just our opinion. If you think we're talking absolute nonsense, then please do chat about it in the comments down below. Please feel free, leave loads of comments, have a good chatteroony, try and work out what the best games are, because it's great for our engagement. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you click that subscribe button 31 times, or just once, and be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content.